Hey guys, Jonty Hikmet here. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I want to speak about the importance of fear in chronic pain recovery, how it's quite a misunderstood emotion in the chronic pain space. Not only in the chronic pain space, but in lots of spaces. Fear is often demonized and we're taught to no longer have it, to try and get rid of it, to try and reframe it if we want to have a good life, if we want pain to go away. So in this video, I'm going to speak about the importance of the emotion, why it's misunderstood, and what potentially to do instead with this emotion. So for a long time in the chronic pain space, and maybe still to this day, maybe practitioners are teaching it, there's this theory called the pain-fear cycle. I've spoken about it on different videos. And what the pain-fear cycle theory teaches is that someone will have pain in their body, and then they'll fear that pain. And because they fear that pain, that will create more pain. And when they have more pain, they'll have more fear. And because they have more fear, they have more pain, and so on. Pain, fear, pain, fear, pain, fear. And the suggestion in that theory is in order for pain to go away, you need to no longer fear it. You need to get to a place where you're indifferent towards your pain. You feel okay towards it. And that teaches the mind that this pain is safe, and then eventually the pain will subside. In some regards, in a lot of regards, the theory is great. It's trying to teach people how to feel a bit more accustomed and welcoming and okay with their pain, with the pain in their body. And I know for a lot of people that theory really helped them. It really helped them understand that, okay, if I can get to a place of just being more accepting of my pain, then maybe I'll get better. And I'm fairly certain a lot of people got better by just doing that alone. So I don't want to suggest that that theory is completely irrelevant and disregard it. But what I found in my own process, getting better from chronic pain, and what I found helping other people, is the problem with the theory of the pain-fear cycle is that you're teaching people to bury emotions again. The whole reason pain can become chronic, or symptoms can become chronic in the mind and body, is because we're not letting ourselves feel or sit with certain emotions. And if we suggest to people, hey, there's this thing called the pain-fear cycle, you need to no longer fear pain, what people end up doing, mistakenly, inadvertently, is when they notice themselves feeling afraid, they try and push it along, they try and reframe it, they try and self-soothe, they try and teach themselves, don't feel fear, this emotion isn't welcome, because if this emotion is here, if I feel fear, I'm going to have more pain. But that just perpetuates the same problem, because now you're burying fear. Now you're telling yourself not to feel afraid, which teaches the mind, every time Jonty feels fear, we're going to give him pain. Not because he's fearing his pain, but because he's not safe allowing the presence of fear. There's a big distinction there. What you need to learn to do, what I realized in my process and helping other people, is you need to teach the mind that it's okay that the energy of fear is existing in my body right now. You need to get to a point where you're able to recognize that, okay, I have pain, or I have a symptom, and immediately there's some fear. This fear is allowed to be here. It's okay that this fear is moving through my body, it's in my chest, it doesn't feel so comfortable, but I'm going to learn to be with it. That's why we meditate, that's what we journal, to learn to be with fear. I'm going to just be okay with this fear being here, and I'm going to be okay with the fear being here, and I'm going to be okay with the pain being here. That's the ideal scenario going forward. It's all welcome. All of it's okay that it's here. Watching this, if you've never tried to do that, it may seem like an impossible task. Again, that's why we learn how to meditate in the way that we learn in this process. We learn how to journal, we have support. So I've spoken about this in previous videos. Fear is a misunderstood emotion because often in the chronic pain space, teachers will teach people to try to no longer fear their pain. And what that will do inadvertently is teach people that they need to bury their fear. They need to no longer ever feel fear again. And like I said at the beginning of the video, this isn't only a problem in the chronic pain space, it's also just in general self-help advice of no longer fearing and being confident. It's the general rhetoric of society, I've used that word in previous videos, of you need to be confident, you need to have conviction, you need to stand up, you need to know where you're going, no fear, always direction. This is the way I'm going. And if you do, then somehow you're defective, or somehow you're not going to fit in or get love. And again, there's nothing wrong with trying to be confident, and there's nothing wrong with working with your fear in a way where you move forward anyway. But when we take the statement, no fear, only be confident, too absolutely, we end up teaching the mind that fear as an emotion cannot be here. It's not welcome. Which can teach the mind that, okay, if this energy of this emotion isn't welcome, I guess we're going to give Jonty pain instead, because he doesn't want this emotion to be here. So here's some pain instead. There's so many theories about why pain becomes chronic in the body. I mean, the thing that I've really landed on is that we've all been conditioned to act a certain way for society. I mean, again, I haven't come up with this theory myself, but the way that I like to describe it, people in chronic pain tend to be perfectionists, people pleasers, high achievers. They like to be in control. So they're constantly micromanaging which emotions they're feeling and how they're acting for the world. And because they do that, there's in the background, unconsciously, this voice telling them this emotion is welcome, this emotion is not welcome. It's compartmentalizing emotions into good and bad piles. Most likely in the bad pile is fear. Most likely it's anger. Most likely shame, embarrassment, sadness, guilt, regret. Anytime the energy of that emotion comes up in the body, we're going to push it away and just pretend to be happy again, or pretend to be confident again, or whatever it is. And you get so good at that, you become such a master at repressing, you don't even realize you're doing it until you sit down in front of someone like me, or you learn to meditate, or you learn to journal, and you realize, oh my God, there's all of this is inside all the time. And even though for society I want to act a certain way, maybe I need to learn how to actually sit with this in a safe space. I don't have to, just because I'm feeling afraid, it doesn't mean that I need to go out and start shivering and be shaky and just be a mess around my friends, etc. I can learn how to feel the energy of this emotion. We call it a safe space in meditation and journaling, and then get on with my day as normal. I don't need to indulge in this emotion. This is an important thing that I want to say. The biggest fear that people have when it comes to sitting with emotions that feel big, feel intense, is that they'll be overwhelmed by them. If I feel this fear, it's going to take over. I'm going to be an anxious mess. I'm going to have a panic attack. I won't be able to function. It's going to last forever. These are the things. It's going to overwhelm me. It's going to last forever. I can't feel this emotion. But what you learn in this process, it's a wonderful thing that you learn about the mind-body system. There's a difference between embracing an emotion and indulging one. When we indulge an emotion, we wear it in our body, we wear it to the outside world, we define ourselves by it. We think just because I'm feeling fear, it makes me a fearful person. We don't go out, we don't do anything. That's indulging an emotion. Embracing an emotion is different. That's where we use, again, I always talk about meditation, journaling and therapy. You learn that you can feel the emotion in the body. It may make you shake. It may create a bit of discomfort. But the more that you allow it to exist and surrender to it, the more likely it rises and falls. And actually the mind-body system is trying to work for you. It's trying to support you. It's trying to return to equanimity. If you teach it that fear is safe in the body rather than trying to run from it, it rises and falls. And then in the future, the more you do that, the more, even though fear will always feel like an intense emotion, you'll be a lot more, it'll be a lot easier for you to welcome it. The mind will go, oh, yeah, this emotion's safe. It's fine that this is here. It may feel as if there's a fine line between indulging an emotion and embracing one, but only when you, again, meditate and you start to actually understand what it means to surrender to something and allow it to exist in the body, do you begin to recognize that the reason why the emotion felt so big and so difficult and so scary is because I was doing everything I could to resist it and push it away. The reason why it felt like indulging an emotion was so big and difficult is because I was pushing it away constantly. And the saying applies here. I'm going to speak about why this saying doesn't work also, but I'm going to say why the saying works here. What you resist persists. The reason why fear, anger, all these things feel terrifying to parts of our psyche is because we've been resisting it for so long. And because we have, it resists, it gets big, it feels like it's going to take over, it feels like it's going to last forever. one of the tricky things, apart from understanding the difference between indulging and embracing emotions, one of the tricky things about emotional processing is that it's lots of paradoxes. Lots of things are true and not true at the same time. And it's very difficult for our egos who want to operate in a world that's very absolute and sure of ourselves to exist in a paradoxical space, to exist in contradiction and for all things to be true and not true at the same time. And when it comes to something like fear, it's true that if we wear fear on our, in our everyday life, and we operate with fear in everything that we do, it's true that maybe it's going to be a bit more difficult for people to connect with us, and people maybe won't like us as much. And a lot of it's true about identifying with fear too much. But it's also true that if we learn how to allow fear in the body and teach the mind that the emotion's safe to be here, even though we're feeling the full spectrum of fear internally, we can still act fairly confidently externally. So fear is welcome, and also, needn't be worn every day in our lives. It's a paradox, a bit of a paradox. It's difficult. The saying I just said before, what you resist persists, that's also, if taken too absolutely, will lead people into doing not the wrong thing, but it can misguide people a bit, because on the surface of things, what the saying is trying to say, what you resist persists, it's trying to say if you resist your fear, it will persist and it will feel big and it will feel like it's going to last forever. It's a great saying and it rhymes, which is perfect, right? And that doesn't only go for fear, it goes for every emotion. If you resist it, if you push it away, it will persist. But what that saying teaches people that, okay, I need to learn to no longer resist things, which is great. You need to learn how to welcome things. But the saying also may mistakenly teach people that I need to push away my resistance. I need to tell resistance whenever it comes up, go away. I need to welcome this. And anytime resistance comes up, I need to push that away. Why that's misguided is because your resistance is also a part of you that deserves attention. The truth of what we need to try to do when we're processing emotions, when we're making ourselves available to them, is welcoming everything. Welcoming the fear, welcoming the resistance to the fear, welcoming the anger, the resistance to the anger, all of it. This is okay, this is okay, this is okay. Over and over again. I wrote a post recently on social media that tried to, again, simplify the process and say, instead of thinking of emotions in terms of specifics, this is anger, this is sadness, this is fear, think of it all as energy in the body. Emotions exist as energy in the body. I don't mean energy like strength and power. I mean energy as in how we feel things in the body. So instead of thinking of the specifics of emotions, think of energy in the body. Over and over again in meditation, what we're doing is we're teaching the mind that this energy can exist. Right now I'm feeling a bit of a void in my chest, that can be here. Now I'm feeling restless in my legs, this can be here. Now there's a part of me internally that feels confused about whether I'm doing this right or not. This can be here. Now there's a part of me that feels doubtful about whether I'm meditating correctly or not. This can be here. Now that anxiety is back in the chest again. This can be here. I digress. What you resist persists is a wonderful saying. It also can misguide people if taken too literally. We need to learn how to welcome everything, not only the thing we're resisting, but also the resistance itself. That may seem complex and tricky. When you learn to meditate, each and every moment in your meditation, the exact thing you need to be with is being served up to you in a nice little package. In this moment right now, watching this, however you're feeling, is exactly the thing, this state of being, that you need to teach your mind it's okay for you to be with. The little bit of pain, the fear towards the pain. Maybe a lot of pain, maybe you have a lot of pain. The fear towards the pain is welcome. The pain is welcome. The restlessness is welcome. The frustration now towards the pain is welcome. The resistance towards the frustration is welcome. Over and over again in each moment. This can be here, this can be here, this can be here, this can be here. If that seems like an impossible task, again, that's why I've set up a community. That's why I see people one-on-one, to help show them in that safe space that when you just allow each moment to exist exactly as it is, surrender, you start to notice an internal spaciousness begin to get created. And that's what the mind needs for pain to subside. I digress. let's say one more point about the importance of fear. As always, I'm sure I've missed some things out, but what you notice, it doesn't matter if you're day 1 of meditation or year number 30, even though it's not, I haven't meditated for 30 years, so I can't tell you. I'm getting close to year number 20, so let's say, year number 18, because it may change for me in the future, but fear comes up over and over and over and over again. It doesn't matter how much. In the past, I did a lot of self-soothing things that were wonderful. I did a lot of reframing. I did a lot of breathing techniques. I did a lot of the very practices that teach you to no longer fear and to soothe your body. And those things felt very calming and they were wonderful. But nothing compares to when I started to teach my mind that I'm not going to soothe this emotion away. I'm not going to try and breathe this emotion out. I'm not going to try and release. I'm not going to try and let go. I'm going to sit with this exactly as it is. I'm going to let this fear be as big as it needs to be in my chest. I'm going to let the belly feel shaky. I'm going to let my arms feel shaky. It's just going to be okay as it is. I'm not going to soothe it away. No self-soothing technique compared to when I started doing that. And even though and what happened from doing that is obviously my chronic pain went away because I taught the mind this energy can be here just as it is. I'm not going to try and push it away. And then I thought, okay, the more I get used to fear in the body, the more it's maybe not going to be there anymore. That's not true. Is the last thing I want to say about this. Fear is going to come up over and over again, whether it's day 1 of meditation or year 18. In my meditations, fear comes up. Sometimes just as big as it did once upon a time. The difference now between year 18 and day 1 is the parts of me that resist the fear are no longer as resistant. So day 1 to, a couple of months in, or even like the first year, if you're really going at the process, let's say you start day 1, the first year of the process, if you're really consistent, your resistance will not trust you just yet. Your resistance to fear. You'll go in and you'll try and say, okay, we need to be with this. And a lot of parts of you going, no, this fear is going to take over. This fear is going to last forever. In the first year, it takes a while to teach that resistance that you're safe to be with fear. It takes a lot of validating the resistance, asking it why it's afraid of the fear. It will tell you, this is going to take over, it's going to last forever, it's going to overwhelm us. We don't want to be like this for the world. We want to operate in the world more confidently. It takes a lot of validating your resistant parts, a lot of welcoming it, before it finally trusts, okay, maybe we can. It starts to it gives you a bit of fear. It goes, okay, go on, let's see if we can be with a bit of fear. And then it resists again. Eventually, you do this for a good amount of time. Even though your resistance, my resistance still comes up, it still goes, fear. It trusts me when I go, no, we can be with this. It goes, oh yeah, we can be with this. We've done this for years. So that's the final point I want to make. The importance of fear, not only in chronic pain recovery, but in your life. None of us are exempt from the emotion of fear, so you might as well learn to get used to it. You might as well learn to acclimatize to it. You might as well teach your resistant parts that fear is safe. And I'll tell you the benefit of doing this for as long as I've done it for. Not only does chronic pain subside, not only does resistance begin to trust you more and let you have fear, but you can get to a point where you can feel tremendously panicked about a situation, a conversation you're putting off, a talk with your boss, anything that you feel terrified about. And you can get to a point where you can fully allow the energy of that emotion, that fear, to exist in the body, feeling as intense as ever, but still approach the situation with full conviction. I can still be on a talk with 40 people feeling terrified internally, and all the while going, yeah, I can feel terrified internally, and speaking, normally and confidently. And it's not a facade, it's not an act. I'm able to hold space for both. I'm able to let fear exist as big as it needs to internally with all the different sensations it brings, and also give this mask of confidence. The truth is out. It's all fake. All of what I'm doing is fake. Okay, I digress. Any other points I want to make? Fear is an important emotion because it's going to show up. None of us are exempt from it. It's particularly important in chronic pain recovery because pain will occur, as I've said over and over again, because it's trying to get us to feel the very emotions we've been burying. And, You don't have to search for the emotions you've been bearing. The very feelings you feel towards your pain are most likely the emotions you're bearing. And most of us feel afraid towards our pain or frustrated. And if you're feeling fear, you're feeling frustration in the midst of pain, it's most likely the emotion your mind wants you to learn to be with. There may seem like there's no rationale for fear. It may seem illogical. But what we learn in the meditative process is to drop the story of the logic or the rationale. It doesn't matter if this is rational, this emotion right now. I just need to learn how this feels in the body and teach the mind it's okay that my body feels this way right now. You don't have to search for the emotion. You just have to close your eyes, notice exactly what's occurring for you in your body, and just surrender to it. Go, okay, this can exist the way it wants to. For the first couple of months, you're going to have a lot of resistance to that. There's going to be a lot of, I don't like this. I don't want to be with this. This doesn't feel like the controlled, calm, composed version of me that I like. That's why you work with mentors. That's why you get support and guidance to teach you, just be a mess. You'll be okay. I'm yet to work with someone where they've exposed themselves to an emotion and it's killed them. So I think you'll be okay as well. You have to expose yourself to it, to acclimatize to it, to get used to it. Eventually, you too can get to a place where fear can just feel like an emotion you can be with, the energy of which in the body. It's okay that this is here. That's my video. Any questions? Anything you'd like to share, please share below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Hopefully see you soon.